Dana Barros, he got his basketball with him. What's so interesting about you is way ahead of your time, way ahead of your time with the three-level scoring, splitting the pick and roll. What did basketball development look like for you growing up in Boston?
Streets, man. It was the streets. It was just we had maybe a boys and girls club, that was a couple of miles away we could ride the bike to, but it was one court. They played every sport on that damn court. It wasn't like we could go in there and hoop. So it was just a lot of outside. A lot of the kids might not know what a VCR tape is. A lot of VCR tape watching, you know what I mean?
Who were you watching? Who were you watching?
Jordan was my favorite player growing up as I got into high school, but Gus Williams, who played for the Seattle Supersonics, was oh my God.
I actually hooped with Gus before. He was way older than me, but it's a pickup run in Harlem. Yeah, he's a good dude, and he was still
Yeah,
scoring at like 50 something, still
yeah,
getting
dude.
buckets. Yeah,
Dude was a problem back then, man. Problem, yeah, definitely.
it's crazy because you weren't even recruited to play basketball, right? It was all football at BC.
Yeah, man. I mean, I averaged 40 a game in high school, no 3-point line. I was murdering dudes, right? But I was getting letters every day from like Miami, Notre Dame, Michigan. I had a scheduled visit from Miami, to go down there. But the crazy visits about BC was Doug Flutie took me around. My visits to BC was 2 football visits with Doug Flutie. It was crazy. I was gonna go to BC and just walk on the basketball team after football season, but one of the kids on the team finally, he actually reneged on his scholarship. So on the last day, they called me and said, "Hey, you want the basketball scholarship?" And the football coaches was pissed, bro, pissed.
Yeah, I want to take it back to the skill development aspect because you said was it just you mostly playing your sport, or were there some skills and drills involved? Because I think today there's a lot of skills and drills going on, but not enough playing of the sport at times. So how did you mix all that together, and what did the skill development aspect look like?
The skill development was I had a basketball with me every day.
Okay,
I had a hour and a half like public transportation ride to school every day.
okay,
I did my homework on the bus, but I had a ball with me 24 hours a day. It got to the kids, the older dudes in my neighborhood used to call me ball boy as a joke. Because I would get off the bus with my Catholic uniform on, have to walk up the Ave where everybody was at. I had my basketball on and my college shirt, and I'm just left hand, right hand, left hand. That's my skill development, my whole life, really.
yeah. When somebody asked me how do I work on my handle, I would just say like just dribble the ball wherever you go.
Yeah, I can't teach you handle. Like you gotta get some drills or whatever that best suits you, and you gotta do that shit to where it's instinctual. And what I see a lot of players now do is they get the matchup they want, then they back the ball out like 15 feet, and then they start thinking about what move they're gonna do.
Yeah.
As they walk up, and it's like going into this shit. It should happen naturally if you're that good.
I call those people skill development robots.
Exactly. AAU, right? AAU, man. AAU, bro.
You grew up watching MJ. You actually thought you were going to get drafted and have the opportunity to play with MJ, right?
Hell yeah, that was man, that was a great day, but such a disappointing day, man. I was in Chicago and they had like now Tim Grover. He's like a great
100%.
motivational speaker, right? So I was working out with him the day before the draft, or was it the morning of the draft? I think it was the day before the draft. I was in Chicago and he was putting me through all these drills and all these test things that he had with the clock and jump and run. And I said I had the best time ever. The quickest reaction. I had a 43-inch vertical, and he's like, "We're gonna take you with the 21st pick." I had lunch with Jerry Krause. Doug Collins was the coach. They're telling me they're gonna take me with the 21st pick. I never talked to Seattle, never visited Seattle, and when they called my name, dude, David Stern was like Donna Barrios, whatever. I was like, "Who the fuck is Donna Barrios?" I didn't know who. I'm thinking some Spanish dude was gonna come out, right? I was pissed, man. That was 16th pick. I'm like, yo, I was so pissed. And BJ Armstrong won 3 chips with them. They picked BJ, at that pick.
How was it matching up with Jordan?
Unbelievable, man. Like I was in awe for the first couple of times, but it's just unbelievable to I was like that. I was like that guy in that movie. Boy, was it Nino Brown movie where they called him Nutso. He was playing at the park by himself all the
Right,
time.
right,
That
right.
was me. That was me playing Michael Jordan every day. So when I walked on the court, it was like an unbelievable experience. And but after like 1 or 2 games, I just couldn't wait to play. I couldn't
Yeah.
wait to play. And he was a great dude because um, when the first game when we played, I remember him matching up with me, and he was like got up on me, and I went by him, and I thought I had him. I was about to lay him, and he slapped that shit like 5 rows in the stands. But ever since then, he was cool with me. He always talked shit, and we played, or he's like, I got Dana, blah, blah, blah. It was always love after that.
He seems like one of those guys that if you talk back, he would respect it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
If it
yeah.
makes some shit up, if you don't talk back, it makes some shit up that you didn't even say just
Yeah,
to
that's
get at
right. That's well documented. Who was the toughest guy? Obviously, everybody had their issues guarding you, but who was the toughest guy for you to guard in the league?
Damn, I mean, a lot of great guys. I would say, like, for me, Muggsy was the only guy that I felt was faster, if not just as fast, if not faster than me, which was I didn't know how to play against that. I was always the fastest guy. But one guy who people might not give the respect, definitely don't give the respect, was Tim Hardaway. Tim
Tough.
Hardaway Sr. was a fucking problem, man. He was big, strong. He had handle. He could pull up. He was a great passer. And we played Golden State a lot in Seattle, so I came off the bench and got to play against him a lot. And in college, we played against each other. But to me, I loved that matchup. He was a challenge to me. Him and Kevin Johnson from Phoenix.
For sure. It's interesting because going into the league, you had a great rookie year,
Mm.
dominating, second team all rookie. And then the next 3 years, you didn't really play a lot. How was that for you? Because I don't think a lot of players would have that type of patience, having a great rookie year and then having to sit behind GP for the next three.
Well, I mean, Bernie Bickerstaff was the coach when I got drafted. He loved shooters. We had Dale Ellis, and Dale Ellis, he called all the players to Dale Ellis and shit. You know what I mean? So go ahead. You gonna make a point about Dale?
Yeah, because Gary just said Dale's the greatest shooter that he's ever seen. Would you agree with that?
Dale's definitely top five, man. He's
Okay.
a forgotten guy. Like we had a lot of shooting games. Like to me, when I call shooters, like I have a different version of shooters. Like
Can I
Steph
t-
Curry.
can I tell you mine? Can I tell you
Go
about?
ahead.
Okay, so I feel like there's people that can shoot, and then there's people who are shooters. I feel like you're a shooter if your game is predicated around shooting the basketball. That's my take on it.
Right, and there's different levels to shoot. Like if you're a shooter in the corner and you're a spot up shooter, okay, that's the type of shooter. But to me, the greatest shooters can come off the dribble, fade off the pick, curl off the pick, come off the pick and roll, pull up full speed, shoot on the standstill. Like to me, that's why Steph Curry's the greatest ever. He can do off the dribble. He has a great runner, pull up, middle game. He has everything. So to me, when you say a guy shoots 43% from the corner, he's a standstill shooter and he shoots spot up threes, I can't put him in the same category as a Steph Curry, or anyone like that. There's a whole nother level to this shit. Off the dribble, to me, is the greatest shooters. And most people can make open three every now and then. Try that same crazy ass form coming off the dribble. You're dribbling this way and you're shooting this way and the hoop is that way. This shit don't work. That's why they have to shoot a standstill shot.
Your game was very much like that. You could shoot off the catch, you could shoot off the dribble, you could shoot three levels, and then you had that in between floater game as well.
Definitely. The floater game saved me, man. Like I just because people always try to get up on me, they didn't realize how fast I was. And I could go full speed and hit the corner of the backboard on a high soft floater. And I mean, it used to piss big men off. Be coming here with that shit to come what? Back then they was clotheslining dudes, like you know what I'm saying. So I had to be careful on when I use that tactic. But listen, man, again, all levels I had to learn how to play at from the curl. I had to play under the basket, coming off down pins. But my greatest asset was pick and roll with the ball. That's why I played 14 years in the.
They call that floater the giant killer. What do you think about the analytical folks saying that it's not a high value shot?
I don't know what's going on with the analytics. This is crazy, man. Listen, I love 3-point shooting, dog. I would love to play now.
What do you feel? Were there times that you felt like you could have shot even more of them, seeing what you see now?
Hell yeah, because when I was shooting 4 feet behind the line, if I missed, the announcer would say, "Well, that's why Dana's not playing that much because he's taking shots like that." That was my shit though, right? They didn't know that. So like now I watch 3-on-1s, man, and you got a 28% shooter fade into the corner for a three. That shit is ugly to me, man. And if certain teams have it, like the Celtics, they have 7 or 8 guys that shoot around 40%. Okay, I can see you playing that style. But if you're Detroit, or if you're a team that doesn't have that to play that style, it can be ugly at times, man.
How do you think your style of play would translate in today's NBA?
I'll be on the bag. I'll be looking for that bag right now, bro. I mean, listen, when I played, the crazy thing was that it was so physical back then, but the East was different than the West. So just to give you juxtapose my scoring. So when I played against Western Conference teams on my All-Star year, because they went up and down a lot more, I averaged like 26. When I played against Eastern Conference teams, I averaged like 18. And I played against more Eastern Conference teams than Western Conference teams, obviously. They averaged out to about 21 to 22 points. But when I went out West, I was 30, 34, 20, 28. When I was East playing the Knicks in Miami and Charlotte with Larry Johnson, it was 19.
It was a little more physical and less up and down, right?
Definitely. And
Yeah.
people don't understand, like the scores was 88 to 85, and then Jordan got 46, and they acting like it wasn't shit. You know what I mean? It was a different game, bro.
I do want to get to Philly, but before we go there, what's the funniest, most interesting Gary Payton story you could share?
Damn, there's a lot of those, man. Some of them I can't, but I can definitely get a couple. So I remember we were playing. What team were we playing? Uh, I think Jason Williams, and Jason Williams came down, and it was his rookie year. He hit him with some shit, and then he looked back at Gary, and I just remember Gary screaming out, "Don't start that shit, white boy!" I was like, "Here we go." Nah, but the one thing about Gary, people don't understand, man. Like Gary was a great dude. Like Gary came into a situation where he was one of the highest paid players in the league because he came in right when the salary cap changed. We had a lockout, and then he got drafted. Like right around that time, he was making $2 million a year, and we had Dale and X, who were both All Stars, making like 1.6 and 1.7. The rest of the All Stars in the league were making like two. So he came in with this, you know, hating on the bag with him. He had a lot of that. So
So
people was
was there friction within the team because of that?
a little bit, yeah, because Dale and from what I remember, Dale and X wanted to renegotiate their contracts. I believe Dale and X were up like 1 or 2 years after that, and they ended up getting traded because of Sean Kemp ended up coming in and replacing them. But Gary, man, he never started it. He never like dudes would say people would say stuff to him, and then he would egg him on, and then he would get to the side mouth talking loud and talking
So you're
crazy.
saying he would just stay quiet the whole game if nobody said anything to him? I don't know about that. Is that
No,
true,
not
Data?
not not stay quiet. But like if
Okay.
he was scoring on you, he would give you the
All right.
one foot down the court. But
Okay.
he,
Okay.
he
So
won't be like, I'm busting your ass. You know what I mean?
so
He
he
wouldn't
almost
run up in your
so
face.
it feels like to me he almost started it with the body language, and somebody would say something to him, and then he would just get crazy chirping back.
Right, but he's ZP. I'm like, I'm motherfucking ZP. You know what I mean? I'm averaging 28, 25, and 10. If I post you up and I flex a little bit, let's go. But I just felt like damn, he had a lot of pressure on him. He struggled for the first 2 years, man, and then he hired Tim Gergich, right? He was an assistant coach on the team at the time, but Tim Gergich lived with him for the summer. He built a full court in his yard. Tim Gergich lived with him for the whole summer, and he came back a totally different player. I give him a lot of credit, man, because he put that work in.
Do you think if it was you and Gary in the modern NBA playing together, they would have gave you opportunity together?
I just remember talking to George Karl at the time and saying, bro, like I'm averaging 10 minutes and 10 points. Like, what do you like? Why am I not playing? And he's just like, yo, Ricky Pierce ain't having it. Like he's just not having it. So I remember my 4th year, we were playing Houston, and I remember it was Game 7, Houston, and we're losing. I'm gonna get that red eye tonight back to the bean, right? I'm already thinking about. I don't play the whole game, right? Coach calls me. End of the 3rd quarter. I go in the game, score like 8 straight points. We're up 2 at the end of the third. End of the third, he takes me out. I was like, at that point, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. He didn't put me in the rest of the game. And we were supposed to have meetings and shit like that after the season, and I just left. I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't return anyone's calls. And I was a nice dude. I was professional, and I just remember calling the GM calling me at home, and I was like, bro, look, man, let me explain. I'm from Boston. Like, I'm the nicest dude you ever want to meet. But if you bring me back to Seattle next year, you're gonna see the craziest you ever seen in your life. And they traded me. I had to because GP was now an all-star.
Yeah, now they don't even care about positions as much. And it's also interesting that they'll give you the keys quicker. There's not as much of that hesitancy to give the rookies the keys. Like, look at Trae Young. He's a smaller guard, but they just gave him the keys when they saw because they knew what he could do.
Right. Yeah, it was a different era too, man. People don't realize. I said Gary was making 2 million. I was making 300,000. Like you had those type of discrepancies, and those players were never going to play over that guy because even if they wanted you to play over him, they needed him to play so they could move him. You know what I mean? So if a player made a lot of money, he was pretty much playing just in order, even if they just wanted to move him.
Yeah, and then you ended up going to Charlotte for a little,
For
for
one
like a
day.
day, for one day. Did you even get
Right.
to
So
practice, or did you ever put the sneakers on or anything?
nah, this was off season. It was on draft day. I got traded
Okay,
on draft day. So
okay.
I'm like, this fucking traded me from Seattle with Gary Payton to Charlotte with Muggsy Bogues. I'm like, did he do this on purpose? Like, I'm pissed. Like, I'm like, now I'm going to play behind Muggsy, right? And then my agent calls me. He's like, nah, it's a 3-way deal. And then I go to Philly. So I was happy in Philly. And then I get to Philly. They had drafted a point guard like 13th overall in BJ Tyler. So it was all, back to the grind again, starting over.
And then you ended up being an all-star in 1995. You must have stayed ready during all those years that you weren't getting opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, the first year I was actually, I averaged about 14. I won. I think I won most improved that year. I went from like 6 to 15 a game.
That's a funny award because you probably did improve, but the real thing that happened was you got more opportunity.
Facts, facts. And that happens to a lot of players. So that first year I started figuring out, okay, this is what I need to do. When they try to post me up, I got to get stronger. Went in the weight room, got big. So I could take that advantage away from them. And I just really got aggressive in that last year. That was the last year of my contract. You know what I mean? So like I said, like my contract went like 250, 300, 350, 400. I was an all-star making 450, right? And I'm like, this is probably the best chance I'm gonna have. I had a great year, man. I shot like 49 from the floor, 46 from the three. Really efficient. I only shot like 14 shots a game and averaged 22. So I was fortunate that all came together, man. I thank the universe for that blessing. And Uncle ML, I call him, he came and scooped me back to the crib.
What do you think are the keys for undersized guards to have a great career today?
I mean, if you have the speed in a shot like a Trae Young, it's almost more difficult for them to guard you. You know what I mean? Than it is for you to guard them because you can manipulate defense, you can play zone, you can do other things. But the thing about speed and shooting, when that ball comes off the rim, there's not shit you can do. The floor is scrambled, it's open, and I get that rock with 4.3 speed and a 30-foot pull-up jumper. It's impossible. That's why Allen Iverson is impossible to stop. You can box in one of them, you can face guard him. When that ball comes off the rim, there's nothing you can do. And that's to me what a little guy, and that's the way they play now. So that's why you see more little guys on the floor because there's not such a propensity to slow the game down and say, post his little ass up, which happened to me every time I got in the game. Post his little ass up. And if they scored, do that shit again until they took your ass out the game. Now, that doesn't happen. You don't see one-on-one matchups. Guys don't face up against each other. You want your best player on the worst guy so he don't get in foul trouble.
Yeah, now it's more about like pick and roll, which you were great at, and then finding the worst defender in those switches.
It's disgusting, bro. Let me ask you this, right? The greatest players of our era. So let's take Steph and LeBron right now. I watched every game. How can you let Steph Curry run a pick and roll and you switch Rudy Gobert on him every time, bro. Now you see Luka getting trapped sometimes. How do you let the best player in the league play against the worst player on every team every time? They'll run the pick and roll 7 times until they get the right matchup over and over and over. And then you let that to me it's so much easier to score. Imagine if Jordan could just run a pick and Lambert would switch on him and there was no Detroit rules and he could hoop against Lambert over and over. I'm not even on the level of these dudes. I was trapped 95% of the time when I came off the screen. That's why I developed the split. Because if I call the big guy out, they're coming out full speed at me. I don't understand it. They would rotate the worst shooter on the team. Your ass is going to get 15 3-pointers. I don't
Yeah.
care who. No one else is going to shoot. You're wide open every time.
Yeah, I mean, you would have been a really tough cover because there's a lot of drop in the NBA as well, and you had the mid-range game and the floater too. I mean, that would have been tough.
Born too early, bro.
Oh man, who's your Mount Rushmore of shooters?
Man, okay. Obviously, I'm going to go Steph Curry, and then I'm going to go, in no order after Steph. I'm going to go to me, Larry Bird was unbelievable. All levels, you know what I mean? 3, 2, 1, fadeaways, curls, whatever. I'm going to go Drazen Petrovic, who, rest in peace, passed away. I'm going to go Dale Ellis, and I'm going myself. Fuck that. I'm going myself,
I
man.
like that. I like
I'm going
that.
myself. And I don't take nothing against like Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. Those might be the 2 greatest clutch shooters of all time, you know, in terms of stuff. But when you look at the percentages, they're in the 37, 38 range. You know what I mean? They're a lot more of that where, not that they can't do every level, not that they aren't, but when, Steph is 43, that's a big difference. That's a 5% change. You know what I mean? Dale Ellis is 41, 42. Like, these guys are 42, 43. And Dale isn't as great as the off the dribble shooter. And I'm sure I'm missing some people. I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
Dale
But
was what? Dale was more catch and shoot or movement shooter.
movement shooter, curl fades. Didn't have he could dribble and pull up, but he wasn't a off the dribble like shooting. That wasn't his game. He could pump fake, 1 dribble, 2 dribble, pull up.
Yeah. The thing with like Reggie and those guys is, I mean, I talked about this a little bit before. They just gave Reggie the keys. Like
Right? Yeah,
that was the difference. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
because they did give you the keys rookie year, but they didn't allow you to keep the keys. And then you showed inevitably you were an all-star level player because you did it.
Right. And the reason, after my first year, Bernie Bickerstaff left and went to Denver and became the GM and the coach. And that's when George Karl came in and they drafted Gary. So the whole culture of the whole organization changed. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, George Karl didn't come in. KC Jones came in.
Casey
So
Jones.
KC Jones comes in, and I go from Bernie Bickerstaff to saying, if you don't shoot that motherfucker, I'm taking you out the game, right? To
Okay.
KC Jones, like, if you shoot that ball without going into Benoit Benjamin, I'm taking
Oh,
you out the game, right?
oh man.
So that's what I did for 2 years after. So then George Karl came after that.
People don't understand that. It had to go inside and then out back in the
Definitely,
old days, right?
definitely.
Was it like that? It wasn't as much like that with the Sonics, right? Because it was up and down.
Right. Us and Golden State played differently. Don
Right.
Nelson run TMC. Like, when we played each other in the playoffs, that shit was crazy. When we played Utah, it was 75, 72. They ran slow pick and roll every day, killing us with the same play. We kept switching up and still couldn't stop the shit. But when we played Golden State, it was 110, 104. We was going, so that was the difference.
Are there any guards in the modern game that remind you of yourself?
Definitely Trey Young. People ask me, I probably went to the hoop a little more. Because of football, maybe I was a little more physical. Like, people really didn't get up on me because I was so fast that I would physical back. Like, I had a big ass chip on my shoulder.
So
Um,
it was similar to Tim Hardaway in a way, right? Because he was
definitely,
physical. Yeah.
definitely, yeah. So I would say Trey Young, the floaters. I'm not gonna say Steph Curry. I think I had a similar game to him. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's way taking it. If I'm Terminator 1, he's fucking Terminator 4, right? That shit been advanced, generations and shit, right? But I was that guy who, if you went under the pick, I'm shooting 4 feet behind the line and I'm shooting 41%. B. Like,
Yeah,
if
and then
you
you
chase me, if you chase
yeah,
me, I'm going to the hoop. If the big man jumps out, I'm splitting. And so I was just Mark Price, unbelievable. I probably got the split from him. I seen him do that shit. I'm like, I'm taking that shit, right?
yeah, yeah.
So Mark Price was another guy who could shoot on all levels and was a great player. So yeah,
Mahmoud
man,
Abdul Rauf.
oh my God,
Yeah,
he's in the top five, bro. I'm sorry, I'm
yeah, yeah,
sorry, I'm
yeah, yeah.
sorry. He was such a problem, man.
Did you play against him?
Like 4 or 5 years, yeah.
That must have been fun. That must have been a fun
No, it
matchup.
wasn't. It wasn't fun. No, it wasn't fun. That shit wasn't fun. You talking about somebody as fast as you with crazier handle and the jump shot was as quick as Steph Curry's? Like off the dribble? Like, nah, he was a problem. And I think it was disgusting what happened to him because of his religion. That he really was just kind of on, I'm not gonna say blackball, but he was almost like he was on fire, no one wanted to touch him, you know what I mean? It was just a different time back then.
Boston kid, you get to play with the Celtics. What was that feeling like for you? Was it euphoric? Was it nostalgic? Like, wow, I'm going to get to play for my team in the city I grew up in?
Yeah, it was crazy because I'm in Washington about to sign with the Bullets. So they had Chris Webber and Juwan Howard. So that's just I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a good team. And so I'm driving back from Washington to Philly, about to sign with them, and my agent calls ML Carr out the blue as a joke. He's like, yo, ML, he leaves him a message. Yo, you're gonna lose out on the best point guard in the free agent market. Dana's about to sign. And Mel calls back like as we're driving back to Philly, don't sign, give me an hour. So I get home to Philly, don't hear from ML. I start driving back to Boston with all my shit. ML calls us, my agent calls me and says, ML offered 5 more mil. I'm like, what? I'm like, are you serious? So by the time I get home, the contract it's a 5 hour ride. By the time I get home, they send me the contract. It's like 5 o'clock. It's like 4:30, right? And Mel says, "Yeah, we're gonna have a press conference tomorrow." I'm like, "The fuck we are?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm coming to the Garden right now to sign that contract." And he's like, "No, we're gonna do it tomorrow." I'm like, "No, bro, listen to me. I'm coming right now." It was rush hour, dude. I rode my motorcycle on 93, weaving through traffic to go sign this shit. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep until I sign this shit. And they waited. It took me an hour or so to get there, but I got there. It was Larry Bird and Mel. Red Auerbach was in the other room. The greatest shit you could imagine. I'm sitting there, Red Auerbach smoking a cigar. Larry Bird's right there, and the ML signed me to my contract, man. Crazy.
Was that the biggest contract to date for you?
The only big contract, yeah. I mean, that was my last. I did a
That was
six
like,
year
yeah.
deal.
That was like
So
almost like an appreciation from where I'm looking at it from, like for everything you've done, you know?
yeah, and there was a lockout too. So once the lockout happened, the contracts kicked in, and that's when everything jumped up. Because I missed the first year of my deal, right? So you can look at it. My contract was like I think 6 year, 22 million, right? Which was top 5% right at that time. The
Right.
lockout happens right after I signed my contract, bro. The first year of my contract, I'm supposed to make like 4.5 mil, right? Because it's front loaded. We have a lockout, bro. I lose. I only make like a mil that year. We only played like 25 games. So I waited 8 years to get my deal. The first year of my deal, I lose 80% of the money in a lockout and never get it back. It never made above to that near that four number again. It went down to 2.8, 2.9, 2.7. So, bro, the first year I'm thinking I'm about to get this bag.
It was front loaded, the contract.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I mean, I was blessed, but I'm just like, dog, that's 3.5 mil that no one will ever get back that whole year. You know what I mean? Whatever they made.
What do you remember about young Paul Pierce?
P double. I just remember him falling to us. I remember he's supposed to be like a top 3, 4 pick, and I just remember like, oh shit, Paul's gonna be at 9 for us. So he came in and watching them play, we had a lot of veterans. Rick Fox, we had like 9 veterans, and he was like one of the youngest guys with Antoine as well. And then just watching him, his body, I was like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? And then the shit, we started playing. He was murdering dudes. We was like, oh my god. But he was laid back, man. He wasn't like forceful. He could have really came in as a rookie, and he just played his position. Like we had like Ron Mercer, him, Antoine. We had a lot of young
What
guys.
what made him so great, Paul Pierce?
I just think he had a irking jerk. He had an awkward style. He was bigger than you think. He was stronger than you, way stronger than you thought, and he was athletic. You couldn't look at him and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna take him first pick at the park." Like he had like a weird athletic type. You couldn't really tell until he took off.
I guess that's a misconception. People think he's not athletic.
Oh my god, he was crazy athletic back
Yeah,
then. And
yeah.
then he's like 6'7". You put a little guy on him, he can beast him. You put a big guy on him, he's gonna slow draw him, and then hit him. So he was a tough cover. He's at in between where he's too strong for a 2 guard, but he's too big, he's too quick for a 4 man, you know what I mean? So you had to have the right matchup.
I think a lot of people get that misconception. Like everyone says Jokic is unathletic. I don't know about that, man. I don't think he's unathletic.
He's just bad body, man. Some people just got a bad body, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? God gave you some shit. That's what it is. You just got a bad body.
Yeah. Oh man. Um, Dana, thanks for taking the time. I have to ask you one more thing though. I heard you took care of young Paul Pierce during his incident in Boston. What was that like for you? And looking back on it, what do you remember about it?
Yeah, man. I mean, like again, at that time, Paul was young, and for Paul's 4 years, him and I were really close. We became really close. I was like almost like a big brother to him. He would come over to eat at my house on Thanksgiving. My son was like his favorite little friend. He came over and hung out with my son all the time. And when we were on the road, me and him, we didn't go out. We just played Sega Genesis with Eric Williams. So we were really, really close. That night, we had a game. We went to dinner, all of us. Paul, I think Tony Batty was there, myself. I just had a son, like a 1 or 2 year old son. So they went to the club. I went home. About 3 hours later, I get a call like, yo, Paul got stabbed. Dudes in the street calling me. Such and such did it. Da 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 da. I'm like, damn, I go to the hospital. And it was just a surreal scene to see him sitting in the bed. You know what I mean? Tubes all in his mouth. Patches all over him. And the funny thing, not the funny thing, but the thing that was so ironic about it was he's from LA, and when he got to Boston, it could be 70 degrees out, but he had this thick ass leather jacket on all the time, like because he was cold, and it had a thick flannel lining in it. And that saved his life, right? Because the doctor said if he didn't have those 2 layers of that thick layer with the flannel, the knife probably would have went deeper in it because it just missed something. I think it was his lung. And it was just a tragic event, you know what I mean? And then to be with him in his house when, he still had issues after that. I'm gonna just say that, right? Where we were at his house and he had security 24 hours a day. And the last thing I'm gonna say about this is you can say whatever you want about him. This is when I'm saying, okay, this is gangster right here. They came up to Paul, I think it was Danny, whoever, and said, listen, I know a lot of shit's going on. We can trade you. Where do you want us to trade you to? And we talked about it. He said, I don't know, what do you think? And then he just said to me, fuck that, I ain't getting traded. I ain't going nowhere. I went to Celtics. And then he said, the only other place I would ever play is the Lakers, and they ain't gonna trade for me. So I'm gonna ride it out. And I was like, sure? Because the dudes that happened with was real steppers. I mean, like, I'm scared of them, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm from Boston. So he rolled it out. You know what I mean? And it ended up being okay. Thank God for him. But yeah, after that, he got that G, he got that gangster. He got stamped by me after that. You know what I mean?
What are you up to these days? I see you're doing a lot of skill development. You got your basketball academy. What have you been up to? And actually, you know what I want to ask you? If they
Yeah.
put you in an NBA game right now, what would the stats look like?
I'll give you a real good 3 minutes before I blow a hammy or a groin. It's all right. I'm gonna give you a real good 3 minutes. You put me in that corner, man. Listen, I'm shooting 42 from 24 feet. You put me in the corner at 21 something, man. I'm gonna shoot 48, 50% for you. But it's gonna be a good hard 3 minute
Okay.
spurt.
Okay. Okay. A point a minute, maybe. Maybe you'll get 3 points,
Yeah,
3 minutes.
something like
Just
that,
like you were
man.
doing in Seattle with what was it, 10 and 10,
Exactly,
right? Yeah, yeah. All right. Oh,
exactly.
yeah. What are you up to these days, though?
Dana Barros Basketball Club, man. I have 5 court facility. Wood, beautiful. Only other gym in the state nicer than it is the Celtics facility, and I swear on that. And so if you go to danabarrowstreet.com, you'll see it. We have like year-round programs. I have like 45, 50 AAU teams right now, so we run tournaments every weekend, do that, summer camps. Consultant for the Celtics, consultant for the Boston College Eagles. I've been doing the Celtics for like 20 years now. Got a couple of rings in it, looking to get one more. But I'm retired, man. I'm home every day. I'm cutting the grass now, man. That's why I'm out here with this looking like this, man. I'm cutting the grass.
What does consulting for the Celtics look like? You're evaluating talent?
Nah, no. I just go to like appearances. I'll show up at games.
Oh, dope, dope,
Go to
dope.
the skybox with like the owner of Staples if they're a sponsor and sitting there and
Dope.
networking, man. Get to meet presidents of companies and great people and so it's more that I don't have an office. I just hey, can you come to this event? And I show up and they do so much in the Boston community. It's an honor because they're like the Shamrock Foundation has been unbelievable, rebuilding community centers that I grew up in that haven't been touched in 40 years, until they do it.
We need to hear you on more podcasts. You're always welcome back on this one because your
Once a
story.
week, man. Let's do the playoff. Let's do the playoff chop, man.
Oh, what's your biggest? Oh, the Lakers done, man. How you feeling, Dana? Did you think they were going to make a deep playoff run?
Nah, just listen, man. Like I think Luka is a great, great player. You have to have the right players around him to play with someone like that who dominates the ball. You're lucky LeBron has stepped back and played to stand on the side and let him do his thing. You had it with James Harden. If you look at Allen Iverson, why did they make it to the championship? They had 4 defenders, a great rim protector, and great pick setters, and I maybe a guy that can 1 or 2 that could knock down 18
And
footers.
Eric Snow was a good compliment next to him too. Yeah,
Right. They
yeah,
put the
yeah.
right players around him. If you're gonna have Luke, like you're gonna have to have 5 shooters like LeBron had in Cleveland. I just didn't see it. I just felt like there's such a domination of the ball there that it's just I played on teams against teams who've had players like that, and I love it. Shit, I'll
Yeah.
play no D. I just sit there, my man standing here for 20 seconds. You know
You
what I'm
still you
saying?
still you still hooping?
Yeah, I go in the gym, man. The kids talk so much shit nowadays, man. I'm walking the gym. I'm just minding my business. I cook your ass right now. I'm just like, all right, let's go. Let's go. So I only play half court though. I don't my ego gets me into being hurt all the time, trying to explode on a jab step and shit with at 58. That shit don't work no more.
Your former team, your hometown team, the Celtics, coming off a championship, but Vegas still has OKC. Do you agree with Vegas? Do you think the Celtics could repeat? How you feeling?
No, I feel good. As long as we're healthy, we gotta get Drew healthy. As long as we're healthy and we make 13 to 14 threes, we good. We good because we take so many. We make 13 to 14. We're gonna have a chance to win the game. We get in trouble when we're at 8, 9. That's when we're 9 for 37, 9 for 42. So look, I just think healthy, but young teams like Cleveland, OKC, even Orlando to some extent, Indiana that can switch everything and that are long. Detroit, Houston, like those teams will give any team problems. They do what we do. They switch everything and they make it difficult.
You would have loved playing for Missoula. Just shoot a whole bunch of threes.
Oh my God, it's like they want more. They want more. So look, man, hey,
You could have been
with
like you would have been like a super starting version of Payton Pritchard, like because you could have done everything he did just to a higher level and probably started on this team.
and even if they didn't start, like I said, if I play 25 minutes in this system,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah,
buckets, man.
yeah.
I'm getting buckets, and it's almost to me, I almost like coming off the bench because I'm gonna score more because the level drops down a little bit. You know what I mean? So I like that. I like that. I like that a little better at my age.
How you feeling about the Knicks?
Again, I think they struggle when they don't shoot well. You know, but they muck the game up, man. You know, like Jalen Rose is
Right.
one of those guys. I mean, Jalen Brunson is one of those guys that he just, he gets in front of you and he causes all type of havoc on the offensive end for whoever's guarding him. And I just think if he's knocking down shots with Josh Hart, and that's going to be a tough series because they're going to muck it up and make it an 85-80 game, I think.
Who's better, Brunson or Cade?
For who?
Cade Cunningham or Brunson?
Oh. I'm gonna say Cade. I think Brunson has the ball a lot more, more opportunities, and gets to the free throw line a lot more. I think once Cade learns how to use his size to get to the free throw line, post up a little more, use a short triple threat like Carmelo in a one dribble from the basket, I think he'll be averaging 30 points a game. I think he'll be like another Shea.
All right, I want to end it here. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, who's better? Who's greater? Dana Barros, talk to me.
Not even close, man. Come on, man. Stop playing with me, man. I tell these kids all the time. How, if you watch the film don't lie. What are you watching? Do you see this motherfucker floating through the air? Like, come on, man. Listen, I'm not even going to talk about offense. I just ask people this. Who's the better offensive player? Michael Jordan. Who's the better defensive player? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was one of the best defensive guards ever to play. I played against him 11 years. Picking me up full court. Could he stop me? No. Why the hell is a 6'7" Michael Jordan picking me up, trying to turn me 3 times? Like, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Stop playing. Like I say, the score's 85-80. He's got 47 of the 85. And he's getting clotheslined. The first 8 years of his career, there's no illegal defense.
All right, let me. Can I give you the case for LeBron?
Yeah. He's the best all-around player, if you want to give me that.
He was a better playmaker, bigger, faster, stronger, and the all-time scoring leader. So the longevity thing has to go into it, right, Dana?
Yeah, I think he can say has had the best career. All right, and he might be the best all-around player from a passing, rebounding, dribbling. No, maybe not dribbling, but point guard to five. You can play all
game managing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But the thing with me is this: if I'm the man, I'm a killer. Like I'm a killer. Like if I'm coming down and I got a shot and there's a guy there and I can pull up and shoot, or I can pass it to Ilgauskas for a wide open 17-footer, I'm shooting the fucking ball, bro. LeBron would make the right pass, right? Kobe is shooting that shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron has become a better shooter, but he wasn't the shooter like Kobe and Mike
No, I
early.
don't even mean shooting. I just mean when in these fourth quarters are again. I need someone in the fourth quarter who is going to put the ball in his hand and take the shot unless it's 100%. I can't make the shot and I have to kick it out to Steve Kerr. All right. To me, it's just too much of team ball when the shit is on the line. When the shit is on the line, I don't want you swinging the ball around. I want you putting your head down, trying to go through two people. If you have to get past the ball, pass the ball. I just think that to me is the only thing where, and number two, I see LeBron turn the ball over. He never gets back on defense. I take my hat off and throw it at the TV. I don't even root for the Lakers. I just say, get your ass back on defense. Now, he got a couple of rundown blocks that have shown on TV. Watch constantly. Michael Jordan. If somebody steals the ball from this dude is like a hyena running down a deer. He is chasing them down and he's going to hack, foul, tackle, or whatever. I think LeBron is definitely top two, top three. I'm not, and people take it negatively when I say Michael Jordan is not even close. I just don't see it. Maybe because I'm biased and I was there, but I don't think so. Because I go back and say, damn, I got to watch these Jordan tapes. Bro, I am so amazed at what he did when he played. It's still, to me, I can't see anyone close to it. You know, I think LeBron has had the best career, but no one said Ray Allen was the best shooter, even though he had more three-pointers than Steph Curry. Steph Curry was the best shooter before he passed Ray Allen, right? Just because you have the most doesn't make you the best, because you could have taken the most, which Ray Allen did take the most, right? So having the most, no one ever said Kareem was better than Jordan, or no one was arguing that. He had the most points for 40 years. No one was saying he was better than Jordan. No one's saying he's better than Kareem. So longevity, yeah, but the most doesn't make it the best. You know what I mean? It just means you had the longevity. And again, love LeBron, man. But MJ all day, man. We're going to have to throw the 5 on that, man. I'll be like this with the kids in the gym, like, what?
Well, they got a lot of the kids probably are trying to think Paul George is the GOAT.
I know these kids are crazy. They think they were saying they start telling me that Kevin Durant is the greatest ever, and like I think these guys are all top 10 players. You know, they're all great players, man. But to me, I think Steph Curry has had more of an impact on the game than any player.
Here's a good question for you, Dana. We'll end it here. Is Steph Curry a point guard?
I mean, in my day, they would say he wasn't, but nowadays he's a point guard, two guard. Like, there's no guards. There's just guards. Like,
yeah,
they're trying to change the All-Star thing to where there's no positions now, right?
Right.
So it's a different era. But if he played back in the day, he could still play point. He's a great passer.
Yeah.
Like, if he played for Casey Jones and Casey Jones said, "Don't shoot the fucking ball," he could still play, you know?
It was interesting because he actually played a little more traditional point guard type style in the beginning of his career, and then they just let Steph Curry be Steph Curry.
He could play anything he wanted, bro. He has the greatest handle, him and Kyrie, and they talk about his shooting. There is no shooting without his handle. Okay?
Yeah, 100%.
He cannot get the shot off without his handle. All right?
Or the passing, too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I think, to me, he's my favorite player to watch. You know, at 37 years old, he runs about 3 miles a game. You know, a student of the game, a great promoter of the game,
ambassador.
like LeBron. Like LeBron. You know, so again, it's all love, man. I think all those guys have done great things to help the game, and I think LeBron, you know, hopefully doesn't go another place. That's another thing to me. Like, he keeps going around to chase the 6. If you get to the 6, bro, it's too late for this shit now. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You don't have Kyrie, D Wade, Chris Bosh, AD. Now you got Luka. If you get to 6, stop, bro. Just stop. Don't even say, come on.
So if he gets to 6 in 30 years, if he gets to 7, I mean, he's the GOAT, right?
If he gets to 7, he got 7. At this point, man, you chasing it. Like, you chasing it. It's too much, man. It's too much. But it's all love again, man. I hope people don't take that out of context. But I want to make it crystal clear where I stand on the MJ and LeBron shit.
I think you did, Dana. I think you made it clear. Dana, thanks for taking the time. Really appreciate you. I'm glad we got this done. And I just think you have to share your story more often because it's an amazing story. In my opinion, you're easily one of the most underrated players to ever play in the NBA. Would you agree with that?
I feel that way. I don't say it because I'm a humble but confident person, but I definitely feel like I got F my whole career, you know, until 1 or 2 years. I felt that way for most of my life since I retired. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm glad we got to share your story here, and I think you should keep sharing it, and you're always welcome back on the show, and talk soon.
All right, man. Let's holler in a couple of weeks, man.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Eastern Finals. I'm down.
All right, blood.